This is the Sky High Zone. The Sky High Zone is going to be bringing you its very first review ever today. The game that shifted the Mega Drive by the bucket loads. A game at least to me, will probably stand the test of time for the next 20 to 30 years. And that, of course, ladies and gentlemen, is Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Just a little bit of background on this game before we get started. This is the follow-up to the highly successful 1991 Sonic the Hedgehog. Game that pretty much, as well as Sonic 2, is credited for helping shift the Mega Drive, especially in the American and the European markets. But it wasn't until Sonic 2 came along in 1992 that the series, well, for me, really took off. See, Sonic 1 was the first game I ever picked up, and while I enjoyed it, I could never quite grasp it, get to grips with it. When I first got my Mega Drive was the Christmas that Sonic 2 came out, and happened to be the first game I ever put in my console and started playing with. And it became sort of like a family thing because of the two-player mode which you just saw then. It was a regular thing that, every weekend, I'd race my uncle or my mom or my dad and whatever. Like, it was one of those games where, my parents and relatives would wait for me to go to bed so they could steal my Mega Drive and play it themselves. Which, coincidentally, at the end of this game, when I beat the big boss, I'm going to utilise a strategy that, believe it or not, was taught to me by my mum when I was about 5 years old. And it still works to this day, and it's idiot-proof. But without any further ado, it looks like we're going to get things started here. And just open things up with the not Green Hill Zone, I suppose. And this is the Emerald Hill. Now, Emerald Hill is a great stage to start things off. Has a lot of neat, slopes, jumps, a lot of loops, and it basically just helps you get to grips with what to expect from the rest of this game. By no means is it really original. I mean, it does utilise a few new gimmicks that the series hadn't seen to this point. The sort of like spiral paths that you see at the top part of the level, which coincidentally, if you're playing this game for speed, there's probably where you're going to want to go. The top path usually is the fastest path through the game. And I just thought I'd just stop here and take a look at the scenery because a lot of this game can go by, and because it's speed focused, you don't quite get a chance to take a step back and appreciate it. I mean, I know it's a really old game, but if you go, I'm going back and looking at this as a retrospective. God, that was a bit of alliteration. But you appreciate how much detail they put in. Like, to me, when I used to see that island that you see in the background, I always thought that that was where Sonic 1 took place. But right now, anyway, I've gone into the special stage. When you pick up 50 rings and you hit a signpost, which is like your checkpoint, you'll be transported into this half-pipe like special stage, which is like Pseudo 3D, I suppose. Looking back at it, it was a daunting task when I was younger. It's gotten easier over the years. It's sort of become muscle memory. For the purpose of this review, I'm not going to be going through every special stage, just because it's an hour long as it is the playthrough / review, whatever. So I don't really want to waste up any more time. It is quite long as it is, and yeah, and I know the prize is Supersonic. If you get if you beat all 7 of these special stages, and you get to engage in the biggest manga ripoff of all time. But hey, that's cool because Dragon Ball Z is my favourite anime, so if you're gonna rip something off, at least rip that off, right? But yeah, as you can see, I mean, it all looks really easy now, but I guarantee you, when you get to special stage 6 and 7, if you ever decide to pick this game up for yourself and play it, I mean, I hope that at least if one person out there picks this game up and sees this, thinks, oh, this looks pretty cool, I haven't had a chance to play it, by all means do it, but just be prepared if you're going to try and get Supersonic. It's special stage 7 especially, you can just whoop your ass. Now, another reason why I didn't want to do it for this playthrough with Supersonic is when you exit the the special stages, in a dick move by Sonic Team, you lose all your rings. It's a mistake that would later be rectified in Sonic 3. It doesn't bring the game down by any stretch of the imagination. That was pretty cool. But it is kind of an annoyance. Now come on, don't hit the monkey. Don't hit the monkey. Yes. I might as well say now, don't put the kettle on. We're not staying long now in Emerald Hill Zone. which is probably a good job because I finished saying what all that's been said about Emerald Hill and all that possibly could be said. It has weird shaped flowers and little piranhas that like to jump up and attack you, especially when you're rolled up in a ball. Now in the practice run for this, I don't know if it's a glitch, but I was completely in a ball, and the piranha still killed me. But right now, it's time for the well, I suppose it's Sonic 2, so it's not the first introduction, but the first introduction of this game to the chief antagonist of the whole series, and that would be Dr. Eggman, Robotnik Eggman. I'm gonna go for Robotnik. That's what it said in my instruction manual. I was brought up on the PAL version of this game, so it's Robotnik. Anyway, Robotnik's... Forget this game's cutesy outlook. Robotnik's quite an evil bastard. I mean, he kidnaps little flickies, birds, rabbits, and he uses them sort of like to power his machines. He basically turns them into his badniks. I mean, you saw a few of them there, like the Buzz Bomber, the wasp type thing that's trying to kill me. So yeah, he's pretty evil, and he has a few, he has a really good array of different robots and whatnot, different kind of types of eggmatics that he attacks you with at the end of every level. Right now, I've just decided to stop and take a look in the chemical plant zone because, again, this is another one of those levels that go really, really fast if you take the fast route, which is what I'm going to do. But right here, I'm just showing off a few of the physics-related things in the Sonic series. So obviously, you can look up and down. While you're moving, if you hold down, you'll roll into a ball. Now, what that will do is, as long as you've got momentum, you'll carry on rolling. It also breaks the speed cap in the game. And the mother of all holies right there is the spin dash. Basically, if you hold down and keep tapping jump, what you'll do is you'll sort of like stop, like in a burnout, and build up speed. The faster you tap A, the faster your initial takeoff is. But I've just completely messed this level up and took the unnecessary long way. So basically, with that in mind, what I've done here is I'm gonna intentionally kill myself pretty soon, and I'm gonna go through this level, and it's a perfect level to display Sonic physics at its best, and how you can manipulate the backgrounds, or should I say the foregrounds, the levels to your advantage. And you can really open up new paths, new possibilities, and it's something that I hope that you'll pick up on throughout the game. And there's a lot of games out there today that still can't do physics properly in a game yet. Here's proof on a rudimentary console from 1989. I mean, this came out in 1992, but the console itself is 1989. And no, this is how you do physics, people. And everything I'm doing makes perfect physical sense. If you're rolling down a hill or down a half pipe as a ball, if you was a ball, a Mitre size 5 ball, and you roll it down a half pipe, it gathers speed, it builds momentum. Also, like scattered throughout this stage, you'll see the little speed boosters, which later on will probably come to split the Sonic community's opinion. I don't mind them at all, if placed correctly, and especially in the next act that's coming up here, because you can really manipulate them to your advantage, especially if you get on inclines. But that's how Chemical Plant Act 1 should look, and that is actually probably my best time. I think I usually get it in 45 seconds, maybe 46. That's not bad. See me droning on about the physics thing. There's the case. I'm not just chatting complete horseshit. Sonic 4, you suck. But right now, I'm just going to talk a bit quickly about the Chemical Plant Zone. Now, the Chemical Plant Zone is quite a juxtaposition in terms of zone order at this point in the series. I mean, Sonic 1, you started off in Green Hill Zone, it was very green. Then you had Marble Zone, which was sort of like the underground lava-y level. And then you were back to it was an urban environment, but it was still kind of cutesy, and that was a swing yard. I mean, we're 2 zones in on Sonic 2, and already you've hit that the industrial environment. And I think that's what I like about this level, is that it uses the industrial environment early, and because if you've played Sonic 1, there's a nice little glitch. if you've played Sonic 1 obviously before this, you know, you're used to the cutesy euphoric level layout, and then this kind of like throws you off a little, but it's a really nice touch. And again, the music, probably not a point I've touched on yet about this game, but it probably has the most memorable soundtrack of all the classic Sonic games. And right now, I think I'm at the point which a lot of people will remember this. I bet there's a few people out there, if you're roughly my age or a few years younger, you lost a lot of lives at this point. This is the infamous, nefarious water section from Chemical Plant Act 2. Now, I could have just took the speed booster and benefited from the incline and just jumped to the top of this. I think I'm actually going to go back and do it, just to show you a quick exit if you ever like mess up. I don't know if, you know, I'm sure everyone and the mother and the cat's probably seen it, but you know, for the purpose of just being a complete sadist and a completist, even though I'm not getting supersonic, I'm going to do it anyway. See if I can get this first time. Yes. Oh, nice. Don't mean to mark out for myself there, but you know, even I have to, even you know, anyone have to admit that was pretty awesome, and also damn lucky. Oh, I wanted to make the screen sort of lag behind me there. It looks pretty cool, but didn't have enough momentum. And we're about to enter into boss number 2, Chemical Plant Zone. Easiest boss in the world if the cards are in your favour. In other words, if you hit him at the right angle, and you know, obviously you don't fall into these, which happened to me twice in the practice run. Yeah, it can be really infuriating. And that's Chemical Plant Zone Act 2. Personally, for me, it's my favourite zone. Just because it showcases the mechanics of the game to, you know, the full extent. Obviously a lot of people consider Casino Night, which we'll be coming to after this, you know, the Sonic 2 showpiece zone, but no. For me, it's got to be Chemical Plant. And I think the only thing that probably stands out to me more in Casino Night is probably the music, because you know, you can't beat a bit of jazz. Right now, we're taking Sonic and we're taking him through the Aquatic Ruin Zone, which to me is complete bullshit. This zone is the biggest piece of false advertising in a zone opening placard ever. Aquatic Ruin. You only ever touch water in this place, okay, if you want to. And what I mean by that is if you know how to take the top path, you can technically never touch the water. Ever, ever, ever. So, you know, I call bullshit on that one. But it's all, I mean, it's a mixed bag. For me, I don't personally like this level. It's actually a drop in difficulty, and you know, for me, I like games when, you know, they gradually get harder and harder. You know, I think what Aquatic Ruin tries to do is lure you into a false sense of security, but fails miserably at it. But you know, this, on the flip side, this level does showcase, you know, the fact that if you're adventurous and you think outside the box just a little bit, like with those spin dash jumps, you know, sometimes they really work in your favour, and you get rewarded with a quick time, more items, and you know, things like invincibility. And I think now would be probably a good time to touch on the item boxes while I just drivel on through this level. Basically, Sonic can pick up items in, I suppose, the TV monitors. I don't know. Logic to me is that this is not set on Earth, so it's set on a planet called Mobius. So, you know, I suppose bubbles can live in TV monitors, even though water would. Never mind. I'm not getting into Sonic logic. That's just we're going to be here all day. But basically, like that one there, you can pick up the 10 rings. The boxes with stars is basically invincibility. You basically got until the jingle stops playing to the game, well, basically the main theme. Once that stops playing, obviously you become normal again. That was pretty cool, if I don't mind saying so myself. And a lot of this shit, I mean, that was unintentional. I just wanted to go back into the water there to show some more water related stuff, but I guess we're not bothering. Dr. Eggman's back, and he's got the world's most useless freaking hammer. Now, the actual idea of this fight is you're not supposed to be able to get on top of them, I don't think. Again, I think it's just one of those little programming oversights that just ended up adding to the game. But what you're supposed to do in there is he hits the top of the totem poles and he fires the arrow across. You just jump onto the arrow and you hit him. But fuck that. You've got to spin dash and, you know, as I will use copiously throughout this, fucking abuse it. So 3 zones in, you know, how am I thinking things fair enough? Well, Zone 1 and 2 were fun. Zone 3, I don't know, for me I don't like it. Because we've already had water and chemical plant, it's just, you know, if you're going to keep water to one zone, which sort of used to be the trend until Sonic 3 and Knuckles, but that pulled off water so well that, you know, it was brilliant. You wasn't bothered that you were stuck in a goddamn water level. But for me, it's like the psychology to booking a perfect professional wrestling show. You've just had 2 5-star matches, 4-star matches, and now you need a dud to bring the crowd down, and that's what Aquatic Marine does for me. And the reason it does that is it gets you ready for casino night. Kids, this thing has it all. Compulsive gambling, you got it. Hidden shit in walls that, you know, I don't know, just hidden shit in walls. Who doesn't like hidden shit in walls? You know, Castlevania, man, they have pot roasting walls, we have extra lives, so what? It has that, it has springs, it has pinball machines, and it has gambling. Oh yes, fruit machines. And I think in Act 2 I'm probably going to go gambling a little. I haven't done it for a while, and it's, you know, could be my lucky day. Though I do have a tendency to hit Robotniks far too often. Oh, that was a nice little glitch there. The thing about this game, it isn't perfect. I mean, you might think I'm just here kissing its ass. I know it's not perfect. But it's those little glitches that, you know, they're still kind of magical. Like, you know, just being able to kill Tails at will, just by manipulating him or keeping Sonic in a pushing animation. Things like that. You know, there's a kick to be had out of them. But here it is. This is probably, as far as Casino Night goes, the best act. And the reason why is there's plenty of gambling machines and there's an awful lot of good stuff you can do at the beginning of this level. Unfortunately, I'm not skilled enough to pull half of this off, but if you go to Speed Demos Archive and watch things like Awesome Games Done Quick, there's a guy called Mike89 that makes this level. He just breaks this goddamn level, but it's so fun to watch. We're gonna get the other species. Yes, why not? Although if I do see a pinball machine, it's gonna be, oh crap. I know it's a waste of the speed shoes, but I've got to. Come on, come on. It's my lucky day. I can feel it. I can feel it. Them jackpots are coming. Are we gonna get them? Oh, I can't even get in the goddamn thing. I spent 5 minutes like talking up this game's physics and just screwed me over. And oh no! Really? How in the hell did I get Robotniks on the first attempt? This whole playthrough is screwed from this point. That is an omen. Robotnik just fucked my day up. Fuck, wank, shit, bugger, ass, head and hole. Twice in a row. Right, come on. That's usually got to be the prelude to jackpots. It's got to reward me. You give me 2 Robotniks and you give me fucking 20 rings after it. Come on, come on, come on, jackpots, jackpots, jackpots. Get down! I'm sorry, I got carried away there, but the Robotniks really pissed me off. Anyway, probably a good time to point out that the reason this channel is called Sky High is, yes, you know, I'm not doing this review sober. It's more fun to me every now and then. Have a few joints and oh, I'm gonna get the Sonic out. It used to be something that I used to practice speedrunning and whatnot, but not anymore. I just play it for a bit of fun every now and then now. We're quite close, I think, to the end of this level. And I think we're coming up to boss number 4, which is Dr. Robotnik's mean Sonic Spinball machine. Oh, by the way, this level is the level that inspired Sonic Spinball. So he gets bonus points, Sonic 2, for inspiring another game. Even though, you know, a lot of people think that game is, you know, 7 shades of dog shit in a 6-shade trumpet, I personally don't mind it. Anyway, this is another shining example of how you can use the level and the physics of the game to do things that, you know, obviously you are meant to be able to do it, but I think the idea they're supposed to get in at here is you're supposed to be using the flippers to obviously flip yourself up and land on his head. But screw that, because the physics in old school Sonic games are awesome, and just by rolling you can basically, you know, go around in loop-the-loops for fun. I love the background in this stage as well. I mean, for me, personally, Chemical Plant is the showcase stage, but I mean, as far as pretty colours and just looking awesome and showcasing what the Mega Drive could do in its day, Casino Night Zone definitely shows everything off, and Sonic is just chilling. That's what we like to see. That's what he's all about. Chilling with a chili dog on top of Blue Mountain Zone, aka Hilltop. I think this zone for me is where the first difficulty spike takes place. I mean, by all means, it doesn't get, you know, extremely, you know, difficult, but you know, it's noticeable the random spike placements start, and they'll become an annoyance by the time you get to Metropolis, which is in about 2 or 3 zones time. But back to Hilltop Zone. This, when I, you know, not as I've got older, but when I was really young and, you know, I was first, you know, setting out in my adventure, I suppose, and this was the first game I ever finished. So when I was learning this game, this was always my favourite zone, just because, you know, you was on top of a mountain, and the fact that you could see the clouds beneath you, it always used to make me think, like, wow, you know, if you fall off here, like, you know, it would be game over. Unfortunately, for some reason, Sonic Team didn't quite decide to capitalise on that, and it's probably because they didn't want to cheapen the game with too many bottomless pits. But I don't mind bottomless pits. I mean, if they're done tastefully, I'm looking at you, Castlevania, with your knockback. But if they're done tastefully, they're made to good effect. A lot of people slag dimps off in Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2 for the bottomless drops at the end of Wing Fortress Zone Act 3. But to me, you're on a flying ship, so if you fall from a flying ship, you die. You know, well, I don't get why people bitched about that. I mean, fair enough, there was a few of us in a lot of Dibs games that are complete bullshit, but that one cut it some slack. But it's the one thing I think Hilltop Zone didn't capitalise on. It could have had a, you know, this could have been the point in the game where platforming really could have started making a difference. And don't get me wrong, it does. The platforming gets a little bit more difficult, and you have to be, you know, a little bit quicker with your jumps, a lot more timing. But it doesn't get any, you know, just didn't. For me, I'm just gonna babble on one more second. It just didn't capitalise on the impending danger that the background suggests. And what I'm trying to do here is, I don't think I'm going to hit it. It's a really hard trick to pull off. It's like a 1 in 100 for me. Again, there's guys out there do it straight away. But with all the momentum you build, when you hit the box up there, if you hold A, basically Sonic will bounce off it, but because he's hit it at such speed, he'll bounce so high that I'll sort of be able to skip a lot of the level, except now I've just wasted a minute just stuck there doing nothing. Well, apart from wasting, you know, yours, mine, everyone's time in the world. But there we go. I really love the Badnik selection in this level, and while this level just drones on a little, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Badniks in this game. Now, of course, in the first zone, we had the little piranhas, and you know, they would make, you know, constant reappearances in various Sonic games. More recently in Sonic Generations, in Green Hill Act 2, you're actually chased by a giant piranha in the caves of Green Hill. Of course, you had like the Buzz Bomber, which seen various forms, you know, over the course of a few years. Chemical Plant Act 2, Badnik selection, you know, it's not great. Chemical Plant 2 is more about just the level hazards itself. There are a few little, I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called spiders, but the little triangular shaped things thrown in for good measure, and I suppose the blue blobs of chemical waste that try and take you out are not exactly badniks. Act 3, the little drilling machines, and I wish I had a badnik list, but at one time I didn't know what they were all called. They were always like a great annoyance, because if you didn't roll throughout certain parts of that level, especially when you were going through it really quick, if you look back, that's what I was doing, they just catch you off guard and completely fuck your day up. The placement at times of enemies in this game, you know, it can be I wouldn't say obnoxious or cheap, but you know, questionable. So far so good. I'm 5-0 against Eggman. I don't think he's killed me yet. I'm not sure if that's going to happen or not. I think there's going to be a few close scrapes at some point. Yeah, that's Hilltop Zone. It's green and blue, and if you're not careful, it will make a fool of you. And now we enter Mystic Funk Zone. Well, Mystic Cave, but let's face it, with music like this, you know, the level could take place in a parking lot in the Bronx at 3 AM in the morning. Hell, I'd even played the whole of Sonic 06 to the sound of this level, just on repeat with a few remixes thrown in. It makes so much difference to that game. Don't get me wrong, the level themes in Sonic 06 are awesome, but the actual hub themes and whatnot, it would make Soliana less painful to cruise around if you could just cruise around Soliana in Sonic 06 to Mystic Cave with the physics of Sonic 4, because that would even be an improvement. But Mystic Cave Zone, it's beautifully designed, and one of the reasons of that is it takes the basic top, middle and bottom path of Sonic games, and especially in the later acts, which is coming up quite soon, it adds sort of rudimentary puzzles like, you know, pull this, you know, that switch, and you know, it just breaks the whole, you know, right to left platforming thing, which, you know, was started in Sonic 1, but it's much improved on, I think, in Sonic 2. It makes a linear game seem not as linear, but also all the paths seem to intertwine. So, I mean, it's one of those stages where if you come off the top path, you're not gonna, like, you know, oh shit, my time. There's always a way to get back up there. It's one of the things that's really cool about it. And also the background. Now, I don't know if you noticed, I mean, it's not quite evident now, but if you look at the bottom of the screen, just a little touch like that, where it's got like a sort of, you know, you can see like level. To me, that's like, you know, you just come through that way, and now, you know, you're up here. I don't know, just little touches like that you know, I really liked about, you know, just Genesis or Mega Drive games as a whole. It's one thing if you go back and look at the Super Nintendo, they never quite got that right, that parallax scrolling thing where it sort of looked like you could look out into the distance rather than it just being in a flat world. Well, this level contains the most nefarious bullshit trap in the history of video games, and I unintentionally show it off twice, and that's the pit. I wonder where they got the name for it from. I wonder where they got the name for that from that. God, I need to stop smoking. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to get at. I call it the pit. It's basically worse than being uppercutted in there in Mortal Kombat. Because in Mortal Kombat, you've had your ass beat before it and you deserve it. No, in Sonic, one wrong move will land you in the pit in Mystic Cave Zone Act 2. And I defy you to find a gamer that the first time they played this game, or even times after, the pit has not caught them slipping. Hell, I defy you to find a pro gamer and ask him, did the pit ever catch you slipping? And I guarantee you they will say yes. Now, what I'm trying to do here is demonstrate just a way where you don't have to ever enter the area where the pit is. I mean, it's not like a great danger, all you gotta do is slow down and pull a switch, but because of the nature of the game, sometimes you just genuinely forget to slow down, and what the fuck? Okay, first time was intentional, that time was just really. God damn it, this stage is now going to be about 2 minutes too long. No wonder this goddamn video goes an hour. So much bullshit. Oh, I don't believe I touched on one other item earlier on when I was talking about them. One more item Sonic can get on his way is the bubble shield. I don't think I picked one up for a while. Basically all it does is you can take one hit without losing your rings, but at the expense of, you lose your shield. But it's really good for initiating damage boosts, and it's something that I'll probably try and incorporate maybe in Oil Ocean or Metropolis Zone. Right, I'm defeating this fucking pit once and for all. Fuck you, I'm never Oh. Can't I just have my moment of faux triumph? No? Fucking hell. Anyway. There's the bubble shield. I do get one. It doesn't look like that. It looks a lot better. It's just due to the compression of the video. It kind of just looks like Sonic's got a bit of blue sticky back plastic stuck to him. Can you imagine like someone on like LSD playing Sonic? Like, especially right now looking at this video. I don't think they would survive. I think they would probably trip out to death. And Robotnik round 6. What sort of Eggomatic has he built to destroy me today? It's the mining machine of doom! That was a little throwback to a guy that I kind of rate his opinions on pro wrestling. Mark, that was for you. Anyway. Well, after the mining machine of doom! Which basically is the biggest pussy in the game, I'm not kidding. For my money, that is probably the easiest boss. That's easier than the world's slowest moving drill. Once you learn the whole spin dash abuse thing. And here we go. Sonic the Hedgehog, crack US Navy SEAL, has broken into the Saddam Hussein zone. Okay, that was pretty bad. I didn't mean anything by that. Basically, I used to call this the Saddam Hussein zone when I was about 5. I was young and they had the Gulf War in the news a lot, but I put 2 and 2 together, oil come from there. This is a cool little trick. I think I might get killed though trying it. No, I actually did it. It's very rare that actually comes off. I'm not going to push my luck. But basically Oil Ocean takes place on a giant oil rig. Let's just say by this point, the game is getting as hard as it's ever going to get. The next 2 levels, they're breaking the whole speed. Now it's more about slowing down and, basically patience, like there. Now, patience is something I run very thin on. So I lose a lot of rings in the next 2 zones, more than usual. And even more than on this run through, because I've lost a lot. I've lost a lot of rings. Sorry, a lot of rings already, like more than than if I was like taking my time and wanting to get absolutely everything. But hey, it's just one of those things. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna get as hard as it's gonna get now. The next probably 1, 2, 3, 4 acts. After that, I mean, it's pretty much like a breeze finish to the end. So it's one of those things. As far as like the difficulty spike goes for Sonic 2. It's quite a mixed bag. I mean, it would later like get more, refined with Sonic 3 and Sonic 3 Knuckles, because without a doubt, the final stage of Sonic 3 Knuckles, which is Death Egg Zone. Oh, spoiler alert. Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, spoiler alert. Even though we're going to be taking out the Death Egg, it's not the end of it. It's going to make numerous appearances, but that was the hardest zone in the game. And obviously, by the time you get to the final zone on this game, you literally walk through a corridor. I mean, fair enough, it's just like a little boss rush, but I don't know. The difficulty spike is one thing that probably I think lets this game down. But even some of the best games of all time, are not without the gripes. Mario 64 has a bad camera. Straight up, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Legend of Zelda's frame rate, Ocarina of Time, is freaking terrible. You know, Resident Evil, while an absolute classic, is, you know, slow and plodding compared to most of today's releases. Not of the Resident Evil series, just games in general. But I think one thing that's quite unique about Oil Ocean Zone, and I suppose I better get back to this because it's the zone we're playing, is I think it was the first, like, you know, sunset themed level. I don't think that there was another one for a good while. Maybe until, God, might be Sonic 4 in Splash Hill Zone, Episode 1, but yeah, it's like one of the only few sunset levels that seem to exist in the older Sonic games. And it's currently it's a theme that's been rehashed in Sonic 4 Episode 2, which well, I suppose in that game they rehash a lot of, you know, Sonic 2's gimmicks. Which to me, I mean, while it's lazy on their part, it is a testament to the fact that Sonic 2 is probably, like, it's the most played Genesis game, Mega Drive game, whatever, of all time. And I think a large part of that is due to its infinite replayability. Like, just in this playthrough alone, I've opened up 3 possibilities to, you know, come back to this. Could come back to improve my times. I could, you know, come back and just, you know, A to B it again. Or I could come back and get Super Sonic. Which, you know, what I'm going to do at the end of this game, very quickly, I think, is just, I know it's cheating, but just put the Super Sonic cheat in just to kind of show you guys, you know, what Super Sonic's capable of, and basically just how much he breaks the freaking game. But what is cool about this is Super Sonic is not mandatory at all to finish the game. In fact, in the last level, you're going to be given no rings anyway, so you wouldn't even be able to transform, because to transform to Super, you need 50 rings, and it acts basically like a timer. God damn it! And it just glitched out on me. You see, I shouldn't have pushed my luck with the whole spin dashing on oil, and oh god. This level is 3 minutes too long at this point. I don't know how boring this is going to be for you guys watching it, but trust me, playing Oil Ocean Zone, I don't know if you... Oh god. I don't know if you discovered, but it's not my favourite place of all time. In fact, I think this zone is harder than Metropolis. And that is, you know, that is commonly known as, you know, Sonic 2's fucking, you know, make or break stage. You're either going to get past it or it's going to take the piss out of you. But no, for me, it's Oil Ocean. There's so many fucking gimmicks in this level. It can't keep up with itself. Or maybe I'm just bitching because I completely suck at it. I think it's a combination of the both. But hey, you know, they have green flames, and green's cool. I like green. You goddamn obnoxiously fucking place seahorse-looking motherfucker, you. God damn it. Give me that invincibility, because I'm going to need it. Because... do you remember earlier on I said, well, this playthrough's jinxed? I think it's when I fell into the pit again in Mystic Cave. I told you. This whole thing, stinking thing now is glitched, and it's cursed, and shit is going to go wrong. So, I mean, I'm going to look like a complete noob by the end of this, but oh well. It's only a bit of fun. Give me that bubble shield. Oh, damn it. Yes. I mean, I have no intentions of ever dying again on a boss, but... especially when it wasn't my fault, a la Gene Snitsky. But, you know, come on. Call a spade, that was bullshit. Oh, really? I tried it again. They say, I suppose I learned from a mistake. I made a mistake, but I learned from it. I didn't rev it too much. Right now we're facing boss number 7, I believe. And this is Robotnik's oil submarine of laser-infested doom, I suppose. It's quite a good boss. I quite enjoy it, especially once I figured out that you could stand under this platform and basically just never be in any danger of being hit. Even though my ring count probably tells otherwise. Basically, it's quite self-explanatory. He pops up from the ground and then his spiked laser will try and take you out. But in a really cool effect that it's used a number of times in this game. When lasers or like fire skims the floor in boss fights, it sort of creates like a trail. I don't know, I always found that really, really cool. And right now, it's time for the unholy mother of all Sonic levels. I'm talking Metropolis Zone. Where to start with this one? Once again, it's green. It's a common theme, I think, in Sonic games. Things have to be some shade of green. I don't know why green and blue. I don't know if they go that well together. I mean, well, obviously they do. And these motherfuckers, shell crackers and slicers in this level are the two worst badniks. Well, they're not bad nicks. Like, they're just fucking placed in the wrong places, and that was a damage boost. But like, oh my days, I fucking hate slicers. They're nonsense. So pretty much the strategy for this level, and goddamn shell crackers. Pretty much the strategy for this level is, if you only end up with one ring, just basically keep hold of that one ring. Don't forget, you can't die if you've got hold of a ring. Just waiting for Tails there, because if you both spin dash on these nuts, what'll happen is the combined momentum of both spin dashes, you'll move a lot quicker upwards. But yeah, there's times on this level where I'll literally just be squirming through like parts of the level with just one ring. And the reason for that is two reasons. You can boost yourself forward off damage because of the invincibility frames, and also because this level is just genuinely fucking hard. However, I'm going to try and utilise a skip in Metropolis Act 2. It only shaves about 40 seconds off, but I don't know, there might be someone out there that's never seen it before. I know there is a way to like make the whole level like wrap over itself and just skip yourself to the end. Unfortunately, that requires like frame perfect timing, and you know, I'm not bad, but I'm not, you know, I'm not a speedrunner by any stretch of the imagination, so I just leave that shit to them. But I can do the half glitch. That's Metropolis Act 1. One of the things I think is really cool about this level is if you look into the background, again, just all the little moving parts. Like you can see, like you actually end up in those little brown gimmicks we've just gone past that are spinning around with the net cage. Like they're actually a level, you know, a level gimmick, but again, they make another appearance in the background. And like, they're just the little spinning machines there that, you know, I don't know, to me again, it's just another one of those little attentions to detail. Like, they look like, the little twisting machines in the background look like the power in the platforms here in the lava. At least again, that's how it looks to me, and I don't know if it was designed that way, but, you know, it's just another little ingenious touch. And I think this time I'm going to make the level skip work. And basically what you do is you damage yourself, land on this platform, and you're going to go straight through the lava. Now, if you get to the right spot here, what you can actually do is end up right at the bottom of the level. But unfortunately, you know, like I say, I'm quite skilled, but I'm not greatly skilled, so, I mean, it's only a 1 in 10 chance I can maybe get that to pull off, if that. It's maybe more like 1 in fucking 50. God damn it. Spike to the ass. Fucking slices. You see why I said, like, this is as hard as the game's gonna get. And I never knew that invincibility was there. And I'm not just saying that, like, once again, just a testament to Sonic 2, the Sonic series as a whole's replayability. Like, if I'm discovering that, you know, 21 years, 22 years after the fact of the game coming out and me owning it, like, what is yet to be discovered? I mean, over the last few years, like, you know, the level skip glitches have been discovered. You know, people are discovering new level glitches and, you know, little bugs in the levels that, you know, add little cool gimmicks to the game, like being able to skip through the whole thing. They're being found every day, so I don't know. I think, like I said earlier, it's going to be one of those games that's just going to stand the test of time, and hopefully in 20 years' time, when I finally probably settle down and have a couple of kids and whatever, you know, I'd probably like to see them play it. Although I'm supposed by then, like, we're going to have the Running Man on TV, and, you know, Killing Criminals will be a game show or something. And Sonic the Hedgehog will only exist in some museum in fucking Japan. But, you know, if the world doesn't go to shit, you know, it'd be nice to sit a future generation down and, you know, get them to experience, you know, how it was done in the 90s, man. And God, I sound old. Now, Metropolis Zone, it's another one of those levels, like, I don't know if Oil Ocean it's fairly linear. Mystic Cave was more open-ended, but then, you know, Hilltop was before it, only really has 2 paths. Metropolis Zone is a fucking labyrinth of alternate routes. And once again, they seem to mesh into each other. So you can be going one way, and all of a sudden just think, oh, I've never actually been up there. You go up there, and then obviously a whole other part of the level opens to you. And sometimes it can be beneficial, sometimes it can make you quicker, and other times you're gonna fucking rue the day you ever decided, I'm gonna go this way. Fuck you, Slicer, at last, you didn't catch me slipping. Now I know there's a shell cracker over here, and he's gonna have me if I don't time this correctly. What the fuck? Yeah, one thing that should be pointed out, the hitbox on the shellcracker enemy is fucking atrocious. And, wow. Who put those spikes there? Yeah, it seems like from Hilltop Zone onwards, spike placement it doesn't get, like, ridiculously cheap, but it gets into a position where if you're not careful, you can get caught slipping by the tiniest of things. And even though, like, sometimes when you die on this game, you know, you can't really call bullshit because it controls that well that, you know, when you fuck up, you know. Don't go bitching about your controller. Don't go doing what my friend did one time when he got beat at Mario Football, and he blamed it on the fact he had an unofficial Nintendo GameCube controller, which, I will point out, had a better fucking D-pad and a better analog stick. Fair enough, the L button wasn't quite responsive, but it doesn't really do all that much. You know? But you can't do that with this game. You could play this game on a keyboard, which, no I didn't. I mean, for the purpose of this review, yeah, I used Kega Fusion, but that was just because capturing it's really easy with Bandicam. And yes, I do own the original, I have a Mega Drive, so fuck you, legalities and all that nonsense, I'm legally entitled to this shit. There may be a few Japanese games there I'm not entitled to, but, you know, I'm not paying fucking £200 for a Castlevania game. You can suck my big toe. Oh god, conveyor belts. These bring back memories of Scrap Brain Zone from the previous game. And the previous game, I've referenced it a lot. I'm probably going to take a look at it at some point. It's just, I wanted to get Sonic 2 done first. It's the most fun to play, albeit it's a tad easy. Even though my 0 ring count right now would tell you otherwise, it's not that difficult. But Sonic 1, I mean, if you ask anybody, Sonic 1 will kick your ass if you don't expect it. Like, even now, and I'm a pretty decent gamer. Like, on a level, like, I'm quite good. But even though this game looks so cutesy, there's still points of it that will just absolutely maul you. And Metropolis Zone is no exception. In fact, it's probably the biggest result of people rage quitting Sonic 2 is Metropolis Zone. bring back a few of my memories quickly before we get to the boss. Damn Asterons. They're so easy to avoid if you prepare for them. You just know what angles they fire at. Obviously, they're a star shape. But my memories of this zone was, I very first got to it. Got to Metropolis Act 2, thought, yeah, the boss is coming. Hit the signpost and it's like, what the fuck? And I thought, yeah, well, Metropolis Act 3 has to be the final level, right? No. Although it might as well be, because the next few levels are just really short one-act levels. Yeah, a slight recording glitch there. So Wing Fortress coming up, sorry, Sky Chase coming up is... Oh, again, it's a one-act level. Wing Fortress is a one-act level, and the final level coming up is just a boss rush. But I've saved this part of the game to actually talk about Tails. I know I'm mentioning Tails 51 minutes in, but, you know, hey, he just got off from me because he's disgusted. Basically, Tails is Sonic's, I suppose, his best friend. They met one day on Planet Mobius in the Green Hill Zone, and they've been buddies ever since. Tails' real name is Miles per hour. Get it? Miles per hour. And he got the nickname Tails because he has two tails which he uses as helicopter blades to fly. Unfortunately, while a second player can play as Tails in this game, he's not able to fly. There's a few ROM hacks out there that do rectify that, and you know, maybe again, once again, I might put one of them on, maybe do a quick run of a ROM hack. There's a few good ones actually out there, like a Sonic 2 Heroes one, which gives you the ability to play as Sonic, Tails and Knuckles all at the same time, kind of like Sonic Heroes, where you can switch up, so Sonic's got more speed, Tails obviously can carry the whole team in flight, and Knuckles is the glider slash puncher, whatever. I love this stage, it's so relaxing, and it's a nice change of pace, because, I mean, previously before you've had Mystic Cave Zone, which is not the most challenging, but it's difficult enough. I mean, then you've had Oil Ocean, which is challenging, Metropolis Zone, which is, you know, fucking, it's a mercy killing when you get out of it. Thank God for that. And Jesus Christ, you Bubsy the helicopter looking motherfucker, you. But yeah, this is a nice change of pace, and it's gonna get you just, you know, nice and relaxed, but not enough that it's gonna distract you from the final challenge, which has just flew past you. And this was Sonic 3's credited for level transitions, but what you're gonna see over the course, maybe the next like 10 minutes, which is gonna be the end of the game, we're pretty much at the tail end now. Get it? Tail flying, yeah. Anyway, we're pretty much at the tail end, and you're going to see like certain level transitions, like we're going to fly to the Wing Fortress, and then the best thing in this game is about to happen. Like, I love this moment so much. It's probably going to be the second get down moment of this review, so you're probably best off turning your speakers down when we get into Wing Fortress, because it's going to get quite loud. Basically, get down's like a tick that we have with a few of our friends. Get down! There it is. Inspired, of course, by the man Arnold Schwarzenegger. But anyway, that really cool intro to Wing Fortress Zone, and this is it. This is basically Eggman's flying fleet, I suppose. And there's two ways to tackle this level, and I think I'm going to show both of them off. Yeah, I am. Okay, the first way is the way, you know, the beaten path, the way you're meant to go. And this is where the bottomless pits thing I was talking about earlier in Hilltop comes into play. You fall here, it's game over. There's no second chance, you know, you're losing a life. However, this is going to be a pro tip. That wasn't a pro tip, I shouldn't have jumped. But, yeah, I'm going to show you a quick pro tip on this level. You can basically bypass that whole bottomless pit platforming section by quite simply just jumping up there. It's quite difficult to get the angle, but once you do, I mean, it's all self-explanatory from there. There we go. And there's a fan just above this bubble that I just fucked up, but let's try that one more time. So you see, we get up there and we use this fan, and that propels us up. Now in a second, we're going to take advantage of some invincibility frames. I'm going to cut out maybe 40 seconds of the level, like a whole platforming section up to the top left, that's just going to get completely skipped out. And the reason being that this video is like, again, as I've said, it's long enough, it's an hour, so I'm doing everything at this point just to try and shorten things up. But I just want it to be, you know, as thorough as possible when talking about this. I mean, this comes in at maybe number 3 or 4 to me in terms of how good the zones are in order. My first will always be Chemical Plant. It's Chemical Plant, Mystic Cave. I do like Metropolis Zone. I'm going to throw Metropolis Zone in there. Wing Fortress, then Metropolis. They're my top 4. And what I like about this is it's a concept that got revisited later in later Sonic games. Sonic and Knuckles. Very similar level called the Flying Battery. And this is it. This is the final normal encounter with Dr. Eggman. Dr. Robotnik, whatever. I think it just depends what time of day it is that I call him whatever name. And basically the idea is I'm not demonstrating it particularly well, is you jump up onto these spiked platforms, which are all moving around. And you have to hit the laser, which, well, when the cap opens on the laser, you just hit it. But get the ring. Whew. This boss is a shining example of, you know, how well you can, I won't say abuse, but you can utilize the mechanic of, you know, you can't die with that one ring. And it's spots like this that it really becomes apparent, and it really saves your ass. Except right now, when you go through the ring with your invincibility frames, this is going to be touch and go. We're going to get it. Yes! And it's time for the final secret of the game. And that is the extra life in the cockpit. Thank you, Uncle David. I never knew that was there until he found it one day. And again, this is another what I was talking about earlier, the level transitions. So people credit Sonic 3 for the level transition, but in actual fact, Sonic 2 did it first, ladies and gentlemen. And there we go. The long, arduous flight to catch this rocket to the Death Egg Zone and to the game's finale, which, I might add, is epic. How has this shock or the air pressure not killed Sonic so far? I mean, it kind of makes you wonder. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a thing called Death Battle, but by the way, Sonic beat Mario in a Death Battle. But what can kill him? I don't know. Maybe a Metal Sonic could do it, eh? We'll see. This guy looks pretty intimidating. Ooh, he's got spikes. Real spikes. Nah. First thing this zone reminds me of is Chemical Plant. And the reason being is I think in the beta version of the game, Death Egg was going to be an actual zone. You can see like there, where the you know where the caution hazard yellow and black things are. It kind of looks like the Chemical Plant zone layout, but it was scrapped and this level was turned into Chemical Plant and Death Egg became a boss rush. And this is so cool, the Death Egg Robot of Doom. And now just quickly before I explain what I'm doing here, again another testament to Sonic 2's attention to detail, and it's my lasting thought, is getting to this point and the Earth is below you and you're fighting this giant robot on a space station that is a blatant rip-off of the Star Wars Death Star. As I just stand there looking at my watch like Stone Cold, I'm like, is that a bomb? What? What? You got a bomb? I'm looking at my little watch here. Oh, and it's about time that all the Sonic here whooped your ass. Got carried away there. But anyway, there's a number of strategies for this boss, but one that I never seem to see people using is this one. Now, this strategy I've been using since I was about 5 years old. It's never failed me once. You can basically, look, stand there, bombs going off. Nothing. Nothing can touch you. And all you do is you stand behind the second pillar that's got the flashing red lights, and that's it. Go back to the opposite side of the screen, wait it out, and when you get a chance, just hit him in his big ass. And 10 hits is all it takes, and the game will be over. So I suppose I better get in my last thoughts and overall, you know, my thoughts on this Sonic game. as to where it stands in the series. Well, okay, from a personal standpoint, and I'm on about from soppy nostalgia. It was with me as a kid for many years, and it was a family game that everyone played. It is the best Sonic game. However, I think in terms of gameplay, level structure, level size, and overall challenge difficulty, this game, as good as it was surpassed 2 years later by Sonic 3 and later Sonic and Knuckles, which combined, obviously, gameplay-wise, make the single greatest Mega Drive game that ever came out, and that was Sonic 3 and Knuckles. However, Sonic 2's attention to little details, the subtle little things that got left out of Sonic 3, for me, this ranks above Sonic 3 and especially Sonic 1 and Sonic and Knuckles. And like I said, I think a lot of that is nostalgia and, it being my first ever video game that I finished. And speaking of finished, here we go. This is the beautiful ending of this game. How can anyone not love this? Anyone who has gripes with Tails that's a dude, just keep in mind, man, would your boy be able to fix a plane, yeah, that quickly, put a freaking rocket booster on it, and save you from you being dropped out of the sky and your parachute failed? No, he'd be sat on his ass in the pub, man. But Tails is the man, he's there for his boy. So, for me, Tails as a character, he's a welcome addition to the series, and while he's better utilised in Sonic 3, as far as his abilities go, his role in Sonic 2 is a lot more memorable, a lot more iconic, and that's thanks largely in part to the introduction with the tornado. As Sonic punches the air in victory, this epic journey has concluded. So overall, Sonic 2 for me is a 9.5 out of 10. It isn't perfect, and it probably gets an extra mark just for being my first video game. Graphically, for its time, I defy you to find me a game that's prettier, that's vibrant and carries the frame rate as well as Sonic. Gameplay wise, I think that speaks for itself in the gameplay footage as far as utilising the physics and the engine of the game. Music, just do yourself a favour, just download the soundtrack and listen to it in stereo. If you've only ever played this through an RF cable on the Mega Drive, listen to it in stereo and then imagine it with real instruments. The soundtrack is unbelievable. Replayability is infinite. Like I say, there's new things being discovered every day. I found a few new things in this playthrough. Experiment and things will open up to you. And finally, value for money. Well, Sonic 2 can be picked up for a reasonable price. I believe about £8, maybe about $14 or something like that. So Sonic 2 is a reasonably priced game. It's readily available. It's available on Xbox Live Arcade. It's quite a good version, although it doesn't quite stand up to the Mega Drive version. And maybe a lot of that is just to do with the controller. But it runs at a full 60 frames per second. And, as far as if you're not looking to exploit the old school glitches or anything like that, it's a really good version. And it's probably the one that I would recommend to everyone out there. For £3.49 on Xbox Live Arcade, you're winning. And on that note, I'd just like to thank everyone. Well, if you watched the whole thing or whatever, if you turned off, then you heard my voice, I don't care. Thank you for even giving this video a look. Like I say, it was just a test, and just to see how a normal stone Sonic fan. Yes, I was really high during this entire commentary. Would be able to tackle a Sonic game, and whether I'd be able to keep up, points and a commentary about it. So I don't know how well I did. If you want to let me know in the comment section, you know where it is. Haters gonna hate, whatever. And on that note, I'm going to leave you with a Sonic theme, and I'm out. This has been Sky High Reviews. Thank you very much.